999, Part 33. Suddenly everyone was crowding around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa especially looked as if he were about to grab a hold of Snake and shake the answers from him. Snake raised his hand. Calm down now. No need to panic. You don't need to force me. I'll read it. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. He was not the only one. Presently Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke. Hold on. Bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I shall tell you of the function of the red, of the dead, and of the bracelet. The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Beside every numbered door you will find a red. The dead is the deactivation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you have passed through the numbered door, you must use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. But perhaps you are wondering, what does this detonator detonate? I am afraid this may be something of a surprise. I have placed a small bomb inside of you, and the people whom you are about to meet. You swallowed it while you were unconscious. I have no doubt that by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found its way to your small intestine. In other words, you will be unable to regurgitate it. I suggest you do not try. As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse or timer for the bomb in your body. There is only one condition which will cause it to detonate. That condition is that you entered a numbered door. Once you have done so, the timer will activate, no matter who you may be. You will have 81 seconds. If, after that time, the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body, instructing it to explode. In order to deactivate the detonator, every person who verified their number at the red must also verify their number at the dead. Once all numbers have been verified by the dead, you need only pull the lever at its side and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify their number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red, in 81 seconds, you will be dead. You must also keep in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed. So long as the door is open, the dead will not function. You would do well to remember this. And lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from the ship. 2. Your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or detects that its heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off or disable the detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode. This is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If used wisely, you can eliminate those who might be a danger to you. For a time, you would be able to control your fate. I wish you the best of luck. Snake finished reading and carefully returned the card to his pocket. The message had been lengthy, but its meaning was clear. Only those who verified their numbers at the red could pass through the numbered doors. Teams could not increase or decrease their numbers. The reds, deads, and bracelets enforced the rules. They were judge, jury, and executioner. In defiance of Zero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put their fingers down their throats and began to gag. The rest stiffened. Some touched their stomachs. Some simply stared at their bracelets. Junpei gingerly touched his stomach. There was a bomb inside his body. The thought of it made him queasy. His stomach felt oddly hollow and his legs were weak. Why had Zero designed such a ludicrous game? Junpei looked over at the others. Alright, I'm going to ask one more time. Do any of you know anything about Zero? They were all silent, each person waiting to hear what the others would say. Finally, Santa spoke. Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a bitch was wearing some kind of gas mask. What the hell? Come on, guys, give me something. You know, like, surprise or something? Instead, it was Santa who looked surprised. Surprised. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once. Yeah, I saw him too. Me too. He was wearing a gas mask. Gas mask. God damn it. As stories were sorted out, the truth became clear. All of their stories were the same. They had been abducted at home at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had worn a gas mask. There had been a white smoke, and then each person had passed out. When they awoke, they found themselves on D-deck, in a room with a 3-level bunk bed. Only 7 stories seemed to lack the detail of the others.
Oh, me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of yours.
That was all he'd said. It had occurred to Junpei at the time that it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue. He hadn't done so because there was something that struck him as even stranger. That was the mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover. For some reason, they'd been abducted from the same room and woken up in the same room. Junpei looked at them thoughtfully. So, what's the deal with the two of you, anyway? It was Clover that answered. Clearly, she felt she had nothing to hide. We're siblings. We're siblings.
Siblings?
Yes. Snake's my older brother, obviously. That means I'm his little sister. That really so hard to understand? Junpei was taken aback. The others seemed just as surprised. She is correct, of course. He laid his hand on Clover's shoulder. Are you surprised?
Well, yeah, but...
Why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Those two, for instance. Snake pointed at Junpei and June. Oh, you mean between Jumpy and me?
Ah, yes. You did say you were childhood friends, didn't you?
You went to school together? Yeah. Jun glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well, and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible. Sorry. Hey, you think maybe we could figure out who Zero is this way?
Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims, and that leads you to the perp. Textbook stuff.
Junpei, June, does any of this ring a bell? Ring a bell? Ring a bell? They looked at one another, and like it was staged, they both tilted their neck at the same time. Well, perhaps you went to school with the son of a multi-millionaire. A millionaire?
Son?
Well, someone bought this boat and set up all of this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich.
Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual.
Zero is most likely simply the representative of a larger group.
What sort of organization?
It could be a number of things. An army, perhaps, or a research group. Perhaps this is all some sort of psychological experiment.
If it is, then it's a pretty fucked up experiment. I mean, come on! A guy's dead!
The word dead hung in the air, heavy and ominous. The room went quiet again.
I don't know who the hell the Zero asshole is, but I know for sure he's got to be pretty fucked up in the head to do all of this. If this was all one guy, he's got some serious issues.
Even with the specter of death hanging over them, the discussion continued for some time. In the end, however, they learned nothing. Sorry, trying to crack my back. By the time they finished, 1.5 of their 9 hours were gone. All they had to show for it was impatience.
Man, look, we got only 7.5 hours left, okay? You really sure you want to just sit around?
No one was willing to argue this time. Very well, then. There's only one way for us to proceed.
Sure not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when Zero says jump.
Well, it's just stupid to just sit around here and do nothing. Thanks to Snake's card, at least we have some idea of how all this works. Correct. And so long as we follow the rules, we will most likely be alright. But what? Who's gonna go in which door? June looked towards the numbered doors. Oh yeah, that's right. We can't have any more than 5 people in one door. All 8 of us can't go in the same door. I just want to see this. They wouldn't be able to. Then it would seem we have to split up. Wait! Lotus looked terrified. I'm telling you now, there's no way in hell that I'm going into door 5. Come now, don't be selfish. Call me whatever the hell you want. I'm not going in there. If I'm gonna have to walk through all of that blood, then I'd rather stay here. And we were doing so well. Ace shook his head sadly. Sorry, but I ain't going in there either. Someone else can go into door 5.
Oh, Santa, not you too. Hey man, I just bought these shoes. If you think I'm getting some creepy dude's blood all over him, you got another thing coming. That was the last straw. What the hell, man? Weren't you the one who kept saying we should get going? Yeah, so? Doesn't mean I wanted to go into door 5. Oh, God. There was an awkward silence. Finally, Seven spoke. Fine. I'll go in door 5. I can't go in there alone, though. Anyone else willing to come with me? There was another long silence. This time, Snake was the one to break it. I'll go. What? Don't worry, you'll be fine. We may part now, but I'm certain we'll meet again later. How do you know that? Because I do. That's not an answer. If you're going, I'm going too. I'm going into door 5. What am I going to do with you? There's nothing you have to do. Ace stepped forward. If I join you, then the problem is solved, correct? 7 is 7 and Snake is 2. And if you add Clover's 4 in my run, the digital will be 5. 7 plus 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 7. And 7 plus 7, or 7 times 2. I have an odd thing with 7. I don't know why. It's like my favorite single-digit number. I think I've mentioned that before. Oh, it works perfectly. The 4 of us can go into door 5. Wait. What about the other 4? What's their digital route going to be? Junpei did a quick mental calculation. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei remained. Their bracelet numbers were 8, 3, 6, and 5. 8,365. What would their digital route be? It would be 4. It's 22. 2 plus 2 is 4. He repeated what he determined. It's 4. Add up our 4 bracelet numbers and the digital route's 4. Then we can go into door 4. Yeah. Huh, that worked out well. Junpei ran over the team assignments in his head one more time. 4 people would go into door 5. 7, Snake, Clover, and Ace. 4 people would go into door 4. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei. Junpei had to ask himself if the teams were what he really wanted. Beyond door 5 was what remained of the 9th man. He never wanted to see that thing again, but something in him said it would be unwise not to examine the corpse even a little closer. Of course, if he went through door 5, he wouldn't be going with Lotus and Santa. True, it would be possible for him to bring June with him through door 5, but that would mean she'd have to see the horrific carnage that waited there. Junpei didn't want that. Junpei was torn. Should he stay silent and go through door 4? Or should he stop them all and insist on door 5? As he turned his options over and over in his mind, Ace spoke up. All right then. It seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go? He began to walk towards door 5. Clover and Snake followed, with 7 a short distance behind. Junpei, which door do you want to go through? Decided that door 4 would be fine. He would go through door 4 with Lotus, Santa, and June. Why had Junpei even considered doing otherwise? He would be there for June. For Akane Kurashiki. That seemed good. He felt it was the right choice to make. He made no shows of affection, but Junpei saw her as something more than just a friend from his childhood. He watched the other 4 walk towards their door. Ace, Snake, Clover, and 7. Junpei said nothing as they left. Before long they'd reached door 5. They talked to one another for a few seconds, saying things Junpei couldn't hear, and then laid their hands one by one on the scanner panel of the red. Ace grabbed the lever. His face tight with determination, he turned over his shoulder to look at Junpei and his companions. Goodbye. Be careful. As Ace pulled the lever, the door swung open, the mouth of a great hungry beast. Beyond the door, Junpei knew, lay the sad remains of the 9th man. It did not surprise him that Ace, Clover, and 7 hesitated. The body was not a pleasant thing. Snake had no such problem, as his blindness made him immune to the horror. He stepped through the door, his feet making a wet splack in the pool of blood. Do you intend to kill me? I assume you haven't forgotten the door only remains open for 9 seconds, have you? Snake had not even bothered to turn around, but the other 3 steeled themselves and stepped through the door. Door 5 swung shut, closing with the heavy finality of metal upon metal. Junpei and his companions scrambled to the door. They pressed their ears to it in an attempt to hear what might be taking place on the other side.
It's beeping. It's just like before. Probably the sound of the detonator on the bracelet. Do you think they're okay? Jun's face showed her concern more plainly than her words ever could. Almost as though in response to her question, a voice rang out from the other side of the door. It was Seven. Hey, there it is! That's gotta be the dead thing! Come on, let's get over here, we gotta authenticate! The beeping stopped. The sighs of relief were audible even through the heavy door. Phew! Looks like it stopped. Junpei and his companions leaned away from the door and breathed a collective sigh of relief of their own. Hey guys, you doing alright in there? They'd heard Seven's voice, but it wouldn't hurt to be sure. Yep, we're fine. Despite the recent danger, Clover's voice was as bubbly as ever. Oh hey, I'm gonna tell you about this whole dead thing, okay? The dead's just like the red, but the color's different. You know how the red were red? Well, the dead is blue. Other than that, it's just like the red. Authenticating is the same too. Awesome, thanks. That helps a lot. Well, we should probably move on now. You be careful out there. Roger that. Junpei and the others left door 5 and headed towards door 4. They stood in front of the red and placed each of their hands upon it. Four asterisks appeared on the screen. Junpei grabbed the lever and turned around. You guys ready? Yeah. Sure. Let's go. None of them looked particularly optimistic, but their faces were set. Junpei nodded to them and turned back towards the red. All right, let's go. With strength and determination, he pulled the lever. Run! The four of them leapt through the door together. The moment they had passed through it, each heard a cold electronic sound coming from their left wrists. In the center of each bracelet, a red skull appeared and began to flash. The detonator's countdown had begun. In the long moment that each of them spent staring at their wrists, the numbered door behind them closed, the sound of metal on metal reverberating down the hallway. There was no way back now. They were committed. If they could not find the device to deactivate their detonators... Hey, where the hell's the dead? How would I know? Don't give me that crap. Start looking. I already am. They began to run, eyes looking frantically for the device that was the key to their salvation. The hallway they found themselves running down was a long one, easily 300 feet in length. On the right side of it stood a series of wooden doors, all nearly identical. If they'd taken the time to think, they would have likely discerned that the doors led to cabins. Don't tell me the dead's in one of those rooms. Oh no, how many rooms do you think there are? Junpei was too frightened to count properly, but at his best guess there were 7 or 8 of them. Ah, fuck! There wasn't time to count them, to be sure. Junpei ran to the nearest door. He grabbed the knob and shook it, hard. It wouldn't open. It didn't feel locked, more like someone had hammered an iron plate over on the other side of the door. Junpei turned around to find another door and saw that his companions had already run to the doors of their own. They did not seem to be having any more success than he had. Their own words confirmed his fears. Shit, this one's no good! Same here. It's not moving! Jun was the last to speak up. As Junpei looked in her direction, his eye caught something he hadn't noticed before. A small red light. It flashed at him dimly from the end of the hallway. That's it! Over there! Even as he yelled, he ran. He grabbed Santa, Lotus, and Jun and pulled them towards the light. Santa called out to them as he ran. Hey, how many more seconds do we have? How would I know? Our time limit's 81 seconds. I know that, goddammit! I'm asking you how many seconds we got left! In all likelihood, Junpei figured nearly a minute had already passed since the door had closed behind them. If that was true, urgency foremost in all of their minds, they arrived at the end of the hallway. The dead sat on the left wall, blinking almost tauntingly at them. Hurry! Junpei grabbed hold of the machine, his hands slicked with sweat and shaking. He slammed his hand against the scanner panel. The other 3 quickly followed suit. With a grunt, Santa yanked the lever downward. Looks like it stopped. His hands beginning to steady, Junpei wiped away some of the sweat that had beaded on his forehead. As they caught their breath, the 4 companions began to look around. At the end of the hallway lay a heavy-looking set of double doors. Set into the walls of the hallway on either side of the larger doors were two smaller ones. They all needed inspecting, but Junpei began with the largest of the three, the double doors. How many times did he come across similar doors with similar results, he wondered. Or perhaps he corrected himself for lack of results. Whatever the reason, the door remained firm and unyielding, and refused to allow Junpei or anyone else passage. Near the handle was a small keyhole. Above the keyhole was a small symbol engraved in the brass. Mail? He wasn't quite sure what to make of it, and stared at it for a moment in confusion. It was June that corrected him. No, that's not the symbol for mail. That's probably the symbol of Mars. Well, technically they're the same symbol, but I saw a number of similar symbols near the main stairway. The symbols of the solar system. The Sun, Saturn, the Earth. At least that's what I'm assuming. So this isn't the man symbol, it's the symbol for Mars? I think so, yes. While Junpei and June talked, Santa had disappeared. They turned to find him some distance down the hallway. He had gone to check the other doors. Eventually he reached the last of them and jogged back. It took him only a moment to catch his breath again. Here's the deal. None of the other doors open. Then that must mean we only have 2 more doors. Lotus examined the doors on either side of the larger double door. Each one had a metal plate attached to it. Junpei figured they were probably room numbers. The door on the left read B92, and the door on the right proclaimed that it led to B93. Alright, let's open them. Yeah. Junpei put his hand on the doorknob for the door that said room 92. Santa moved to the door to room 93. They made it through the numbered door alive. There was nothing more to be afraid of. Junpei and Santa looked at each other and nodded. 1, 2, 3! In unison, they pushed against their respective doors, and promptly found themselves in a new room. June followed Junpei as he threw open his door. They turned around and saw that the door on the other side was open as well. Through the door was another person, his mouth agape. It was Santa. Hey, it opened. Yeah, it did. Junpei and Santa looked at each other. They had not expected the doors to yield so easily. Lotus's calm voice broke into their thoughts. Maybe this is all part of Zero's plan. I can't say I enjoy being treated like someone's puppet. As she headed for room 93, Lotus continued. Well, now that we have these 2 rooms, I'm sure there's something in there that will help us get out of here. Let's find it. Santa and I will search this room. Junpei and June search the other one. Alright. Okay. Seek a way out. We are at our next puzzle, so yes, let's overwrite this save. Next time on 999, the second class cabin. Peace.